songwriters, welcome back to At-Home Songwriting. Are you feeling stuck, like your songs are kind of always in the same tempo? You kind of always choose the same kind of speed or the same kind of feel for what you're writing? Today I want to talk about the fact that tempo should be thought about like other tools within your songwriting toolkit, because tempo can have such a huge impact on your song's emotion and emotions that you're communicating. So welcome to At-Home Songwriting. If you're new here, I'm Chad Shank. I've been teaching songwriting for over 10 years. I'm a lyric instructor for Berklee College of Music. I started my own teaching business online called At-Home Songwriting. And this YouTube channel is to help you write songs like professionals at home. So let's talk about tempo. You know, I used to be in this mode of writing songs because they felt like songs that I knew. You know, I'd look up the tempo of songs that I like. So I'd say, well, this song is in this tempo, so I'm going to write in these tempos. The problem is I never got out of those tempos. I never thought about, are there other tempos that I could use, and what is the impact on the emotion of your song? So that's what we're talking about today. Let's jump in. So the key to remember when you're dealing with tempo is that the same lyrics and the same chord progression could have completely different meanings depending on what your tempo is. So what I'd like you to do, and the step that you should take, is to think in 20 BPM or 20 beats per minute segments. So take a chord progression and start a metronome or start your DAW, and I want you to play it starting at 60 beats per minute. So 60 beats per minute is pretty slow. What sort of emotion does that communicate to you? And I'll show you some examples in just a moment, but start at 60 beats per minute and then use increments of 20 BPM to move up and spend some time listening to what does that chord progression sound like at 80 beats per minute? What does it sound like at 100 beats per minute? Now, what does it sound like when you go to 120, 140, 160? What emotion does this communicate? And I think you'll be surprised at what each tempo does. Even the same lyric, the same chords, it all means something different at a different tempo. So the moral of the story for this video, and I'm going to show you what it sounds like in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. But I want you to start thinking about, should I use a certain tempo in my song? And the question you need to ask yourself when you are writing is, what emotion do I want my listener to feel? So again, I'll repeat that. What emotion do I want my listener to feel? And then go through the tempo exercise and determine what tempo feels like the emotion that you're looking to communicate. And the key word here is feel. There's no one way to do this. Every song is a little bit different. Certain tempos with certain words and certain chords may sound like a certain emotion, whereas that same tempo with others may communicate something completely different. So the key here is learn how to experiment, learn how to try different things, and really pick what fits your song the best. I think as writers, we make that mistake of just going with our first instinct or what we first play, and we don't try anything else. But what we want to do, and what professionals do, is they know they have options. So when you know that you have options and you know what options to try, you can use those to your advantage to pick what works best for your particular song. All right, so let's jump over to the computer and I'll show you what I mean by trying these different tempos. So I have HookPad pulled up in Hook Theory. So if you're not familiar with HookPad, HookPad is at hooktheory.com. It's a great little tool to experiment with music theory concepts, using different chords, using different melodies. This is not a sponsored video. I just use this as a tool. I think I pay like $4.99 a month for the pro version or the premium version of this. But I made a simple chord progression of a 1, 6, 5, or excuse me, 1 6 4 5. So 1 6 4 5, common chord progression. Um, Definitely you've heard it before, but I want to use a title, Love is Real. And first I'll play through the chord progression and then I'll sing. And I want you to hear the emotion when we change the tempo. So again, this technique is starting at 60 beats per minute. So we have the 60 beats per minute right up here. So this is what it sounds like. My title's Love is Real. Love is real. Love is real. Oh, when love is real. Oh, love is real. So that's our first tempo. Now let's pull it up. So take a minute and tell me in the comments what emotion that had. To me, that feels like it has some sadness, it has some ache, it has some just maybe some tension going on. But now at 80 beats per minute, what does this sound like? Love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Hey. So now that has an emotion that has some more hope to it, right? Like it has something else there. It has something that feels different than the 60 beats per minute. And the only thing that's changing is tempo, right? So now let's go up to 100. And again, we're popping up by 20 beats per minute each time. So love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Love is real. Now all of a sudden there's joy happening in the song, and it's like, yes, love is real. What is 120? Love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. So now all of a sudden, it starts to have a different feel. You know, the 100 felt like it was joyous. This almost feels like there's some like nervous energy or nervous excitement happening. What about 140? This starts to get really fast, right? So this is where you might change into like a cut time or a half time with the melody, but let's see what it sounds like. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, love is real. Love is real. Hey. Oh, love is real. Now all of a sudden, that's like an anthem. That's like this like joyous celebration, almost feels gospel. So how do you then take this and how do you know which is the quote unquote right way to do this? Well, the right tempo is whatever tempo communicates your emotion the best. And that decision is completely up to you as the writer because You are the one that needs to determine what feeling you want your listener to have. If you want them to feel melancholy and reflective, you probably want to go back to that 60 beats per minute, right? Love is oh love, I love it. But if you want that joyous gospel anthem going on, love is real. Oh, love is real, and love is real. Oh, love is real. Oh, no. So I hope that you can see that tempo is not just something you should pick at random or just pick because one of your favorite songs has it. I want you to experiment and see what feels best. And for some of you, you might say, I don't have hook pad, I don't have a DAW. Well, then just use a metronome. You can download metronomes from the app stores on your phone, and it will give you a click track. And you can set it at these different tempos. And even if you're just strumming your guitar or playing your piano, play your chord progressions at these different tempos, because I guarantee you one is going to feel like it fits your emotion of your song the best. And that is the key. Everything comes down to how do you want your listener to feel and how do you want the emotion to be communicated in your song. So if you would like more information on writing intentionally and writing like a professional at home, I have some free courses and free guides at my website at athomesongwritingcourses.com. There's a free class that you can take called Using Rhyme as a Tool, Not a Necessity. Have you ever thought about why and where you rhyme? You want to check that out. Also, I have a free download of 10 steps that you can take to write like a professional at home. It's all at athomesongwritingcourses.com. And if you want to keep watching and keep learning here on this channel, learning how to write intentionally is such a powerful thing, and you can check it out in this next video. Click on the screen, and I'll see you next time.